Hey guys, I'm Monica Ortega, and I believe that it is never too late to start living a life you love and facing your fears.
Monica, tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I'm originally from Holt, Michigan. That's where I grew up and went to high school, and then I graduated from Western Michigan University, and I lived in Chicago for a little bit, and then I started working at the Double J Ranch and Resort, and that is where I got the start on my adventure bug.
What do you mean adventure bug?
So I went there as like a musical theater major and thought, cool, we'll be doing shows and it'll be great. And it turned into like, oh, by the way, you're gonna do stunt shows and you're gonna jump off buildings. And I had this crazy boss who was awesome, who basically taught me I could do way more than I thought I could. There was one time he gave me this giant speaker that probably weighed about 60 pounds and said, okay, so that rodeo arena, you're gonna have to get that speaker into that box and climb up that pole to do it. I'll see you at dinner, figure out a way. And I mean, I told my coworker, I was like, there's no way. And to this day, I'm still not entirely sure how we did it, but we did it. And he kind of instilled that in me, that you have to find a way and that you are capable of more than you think you can do.
So is that what made you want to start facing your fears?
I don't know if I wanted to. I was kind of forced to at that point, especially with the stunt shows, because I'm afraid of heights. And we had to jump off a 35-foot building. And I remember the same boss telling me, he was like, you know what? He goes, I know you're afraid and I can train you as best I can and you don't like to jump, but when there's an audience and that gun goes off, you're gonna jump. And he was right. It was like, no matter what, if there's an audience of people watching me and they believe that I'm this character and I'm gonna get shot off this building, I don't have the option to just go, oh no, I'm good, I'm just gonna crawl on the ladder, you just nicked me. So I kind of had to face the fear and jump off the building. And I don't know that it got easier, but I definitely got used to doing it.
So what made you start loving travel?
Well, for me, travel came into it because when I was working at the resort, I was actually dating somebody that lived in England. And so going back and forth to visit him was what first made me travel. And then after I graduated college, I went backpacking around Europe for 3 weeks and went to Austria, Italy, Slovenia, and Greece. And that, I mean, doing anything like that, you're like, okay, I've got to see more of the world because this is pretty cool. So that definitely started the travel love for me. So after I got back from traveling, I ended up moving to Nashville, Tennessee for 3 years to sing and write music, which was super fun. I love that city. And I started hosting there as well because I was teaching line dance at the Wild Horse Saloon, which I'm the only person that was ever hired there that's not a dancer, but I was really good at making fun of myself and getting people to get up and dance with me. So I was definitely more of a host, but I loved being on stage, and that kind of started that part of my career. After Nashville, I ended up taking the next big step for me, which was Los Angeles, because it's a town where I could kind of do everything I loved, singing, acting, hosting, all of it. And I've been here almost 7 years now.
So what made you start Monica Goes?
So I started Monica Goes back in December of 2014 for a few different reasons. I love hosting and I wanted to figure out a way to make that my career. And I also wanted to create a show to inspire and motivate people to go on adventures and travel because I know how much they've changed my life. And then the third personal reason that I started the show was that at the time I was in a not so great marriage with somebody that didn't like travel and adventure. And so I knew I had to find a way to get that necessary part of myself in my life and hopefully in my career.
So you're saying you were in a not so good marriage, were your words. Can you explain more of how you were feeling?
Yeah, so basically, as soon as we got married, I realized that he wasn't into the same things that I was into, and very quickly got very depressed. I felt like I spent a lot of my life putting marriage on a pedestal, and it's a wonderful thing, and I do really want it again. But I held off so many different things thinking someday when I'm married, I'll have a partner to go here with, or I'll have a partner to go do this adventure with. And when that wasn't happening, I got pretty depressed. I mean, our first year of marriage was really hard, and I realized that I needed to find some sort of outlet to save myself, or I was going to go down a very negative path. And that kind of tied into the career at the same time, and adventure and travel really did change my life.
Is that when you decided to start Monica Goes, or when did you decide to start that?
So at the time, I was kind of struggling personally in my marriage, but also professionally. I'd been trying to be an actress for a very long time, and I just didn't really have the drive for it. So I sat down and kind of thought about, what does my perfect life look like? And realized being in front of crowds made me happy, and live crowds, and taking people on adventures, even just friends to local things, and slowly started piecing together my dream career, which would be to host an adventure show and inspire people to get out and do the same thing. And so I started taking hosting classes and learning about the business, and slowly pieced together the show.
So what shifted from starting Monica Goes in your marriage and in your personal life?
So when I started Monica Goes, personally, my life got a lot better. I realized that I was doing these things that I loved, and I was very happy. And I think part of me thought, okay, well, my life is great. My life looks perfect now. But I kind of stepped back and realized that I was really happy because of my career, and I was really happy because of the adventures that I was going on. My home life, not necessarily the greatest still, but being away kind of helped. And then eventually I learned that he had been unfaithful, and that sort of shifted everything. And it was sad and scary, but at the same time it was really exciting, because I suddenly thought, I don't have to be trapped anymore. I don't have to be in this very negative situation. And I can really take this life that I started to build and build on that to make it something even better, and create this life I love. And I can take my adventures up a notch and really throw myself into this full force without anything holding me back.
So at this point, you are getting a divorce.
Mm-hmm.
How does that tie into your second chance?
For me, when everything happened, it was a second chance. It was, again, I went back to that moment of, what does my life look like from here? The plan has gone out the window. The life I thought I was going to live is no longer an option. So now what? And I think that's a moment where a lot of people can get very negative and very sad. And it was sad, but I tried to see it as something exciting. And what can I do from here to make me happy and to advance the show? And how do I use the things I've been through to inspire other people to use their second chances, or use whatever they're going through, even if it's just, a momentary hard time in their life? How do you use those hard things to create something great out of it? Because I knew I wanted to come out of this better than I was before, and I didn't want to be jaded. I didn't want to be negative. And this, to me, was a second chance at the life I wanted.
When did you decide that you were going to start facing your fears?
I've pretty much always been afraid of everything, but the Double J was kind of the start of it. It forced me to break out of a comfort zone. But as I got older, I realized I was getting really scared of everything, and I was kind of shutting that part down again. And especially in the marriage, I got scared of everything. I got scared of doing stuff on my own. I felt like I was being told I couldn't do things, and that got in my head, and I was really hard on myself and thought, there's no way I can do these things even if I want to. So when everything went the way it did, I didn't want to be that person. I thought, I don't want to be afraid of everything. And if I am afraid, that's okay, that's normal, but I don't want it to hold me back. I don't want it to stop me from doing the things I want to do. And then slowly, as I started facing my fears, I realized those were the best moments. Those were the moments I felt the most alive. Those were the moments I came out and felt stronger and took a lot of lessons. And it just pushed me even more to continue facing these fears. And I don't know that I ever overcome them, but I've learned that they're not going to hold me back.
So how do you stay so positive on all of your social media when something so negative is happening around you?
I've got a lot of amazing people in my life. I think that's the first thing. I have really great friends and a really strong family. And through this entire process, I grew so much in my faith, and that has grounded me so much. And I've realized that I was meant to go through those things, as hard as they were. And I know that there's so many lessons out of it, and I've gained so much more than I lost, that it's actually not that hard to stay positive. I do have bad days, and on those bad days, I put up a happy quote, and then I take a mental health day, and I binge watch, or I do something for myself, or go hiking, and I journal, I write music, I get it out in a way that I can. It's really important to me to keep the message positive to other people. But at the same time, I want people to know that I'm real and that things are hard sometimes. And while it's nice on social media to make everything look perfect and great and look like you're having the best time, I think it's also really nice sometimes to open up and say, this is hard and I'm not having a great day. And some days it is really hard to be positive. Here's what I do to get through it. Sometimes I even ask for help. And whoa, there's a lizard. Hi, little guy.
So, starting Monica Goes Again, going back to Monica Goes, and facing your fears, what do you want people to get out of your show?
For me, facing my fears forced me to be fully present. And that is so crucial because it's so easy to get into times in your life or moments or even years where you're going through the motions and you're on autopilot. And I didn't want to do that. And the second I started doing things that scared me, I realized I was living my life. And I couldn't think about the past or the present because all you can think about is that moment because you're terrified. And then the high that you get after that, knowing you accomplished something despite the fact that you're afraid of it, is unlike anything in the world and makes you feel like you can conquer the world and you're so much stronger than you gave yourself credit for. And I really want to encourage people to do the same thing.
So, talking about everyone else's fears, big or small, what are your fears?
Well, my biggest fear is heights. That is one that I struggle with because I love being outdoors and doing adventures, and so many of those things are in high places. Hikes.
Obviously.
Skydiving is something I really want to do but terrifies me. High buildings, driving on high roads, anything with heights. And things that fly. I don't know why, but birds, things around my head, mosquitoes, it just freaks me out and I scream every time. And there's a bee on me and that really scares me. I don't like things that fly. By your head. And that is facing your fears.
Okay, so we're on the Kern River.
Oh God, he's back.
No, he's not. Is he?
Yeah.
He is. He's by your head. He likes your hair. So birds and heights. But when you were working at, I think you called it the Double J, which is the ranch.
Yeah.
You had to jump from high places. How did you get over that?
I don't think I ever get over a fear. Obviously, I've struggled with heights my whole life. But a big part of it for me is that I'm a performer. I always have been. And I learned very quickly that if there's a crowd or a camera on me, I somehow find the courage that I don't normally. And that's one thing I love about this show is it's actually pushed me to do things that I maybe wouldn't do off camera. With Monica Goes, my big goal is to inspire people to break out of your comfort zone, face your fears, and go on adventures. And it doesn't have to be some big epic adventure. If you're afraid of meeting people, start there. Go to a meetup. If you're afraid of doing things alone, go to a movie, go to dinner. Whatever your comfort zone is, just take baby steps to push out of that, and it will change your life. So my big goal with the show is to show people that you don't have to wait for a certain person or a perfect time, there is none, or be an expert or go with an expert. You can find ways to go on these adventures and do these things and change your life. And if I can do it, anybody can. Thank you guys so much. I truly, truly appreciate all of you watching this and all of your inspiration along the way because you guys truly inspire me. There's something about having an audience and having a camera and feeling like I'm doing something to help other people that encourages me to do the things I'm afraid of. And I couldn't do it without you. So I really do appreciate all of the support and for watching the show. And I'll see you guys next time.